Hi, Jill.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. Yes, feeling good. So, last time we spoke, we looked at the design thinking process in our last log, didn't we? And we were identifying different stages and the different qualities and skills that people need to bring to each stage of that process. So, today we're going to be looking at and talking about empathy. And that's kind of quite important for me at the moment because I've been spending a lot of time developing some input for coach training and the importance of empathy for coaches. So it's quite uppermost in my mind. So I'm really curious about translating that into a design thinking context. So tell us a bit more about empathy and the design thinker.
Okay, so it's very similar to why we encourage coaches to develop the empathy skills. In the first part of the process of design thinking, the important thing is to start to understand the needs of the user who is going to be involved in the ultimate product development or service development or process development. And as we come in as being a design thinker, we have to really get to understand their needs, their motivations, their desires. And in a way, we're building a relationship with them. We're building a relationship of trust so that they can actually share with us all those fairly intimate things that they are feeling and experiencing. So to some extent, empathy is a very similar need that we have as a coach.
Yeah. And certainly, thinking about the things that are written about empathy, I know you and I have talked a bit about Brene Brown's work, and she talks very much about empathy fueling connection. And that takes me back to what we were saying in our first vlog about the current world that we're in and the importance of connecting with people we've lost connection with, but also creating connections with others in the wider world as well. So that feels as if empathy is very much something that we need to be focusing on and developing as design thinkers, as coaches, and kind of as human beings as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think that, for me, empathy is fundamental to building relationships, as you said, whether it's in coaching, whether it's just in our everyday lives. So for me, I think that design thinkers, in a way, have a responsibility to start to really reflect and stand back and look at how they develop empathy, how they show empathy, and how they use empathy when they're actually engaged in the design thinking process.
And I guess in developing a coaching culture, which I know is something that you and I both very, very sort of keen to support and see happen, that empathy with different stakeholder groups is really important in drawing out the information, but also in creating that understanding of what makes a coaching culture better and more helpful than what might be the existing culture. So if you were to provide some tips, Jill, a couple of tips on how to help develop empathy, what would be your two tips?
Two tips. Um, I think one of the things is to perhaps become very sensitive to the cues that you're picking up from the other person and to try to make sense of those cues that will help you to perhaps formulate some really interesting and powerful questions to check out. It can also be that you start to check out your assumptions and your biases towards perhaps the situation and the individual as well. So for me, I think they would be the two top tips. Think about the cues that you're picking up when you're having a conversation with somebody. What is that saying to you? And then secondly, to think about, are you really displaying or are you showing any biases or assumptions that you may have implicitly developed?
Okay, so what do you think? What are your experiences of engaging with your multiple stakeholders and the challenges of being empathetic online, which is kind of how we're all working at the moment, isn't it? So next stage, Jill, next vlog, next stage that we'll be looking at.
Okay, so we'll pick up at the next stage, at the next part of the process, which is about really defining the issue or the problem that you want to focus on in terms of having got all the needs from the customers or the users, and then deciding which of those issues that you really want to focus on. So it will be about really how do we define the issue, the challenge, or the problem.
Brilliant. Thank you. So in the meantime, do get in touch, engage with us online, and we look forward to seeing you in the next vlog. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.